you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm Mariano.
And I'm Pauline.
And we've got a couple great topics for you today. The first being bulking versus cutting. And then after that, we're going to dive into the differences between dirty bulking and clean bulking. But we'll get into that one later. Now, we wanted to start with bulking versus cutting because a lot of people that are newer to the gym, the thing is, when you first start working out, you build so much faster. You know, so like let's say the first 4 months of working out, you can build about like 2.5 pounds of muscle per month.
Right.
Somebody who's been working out more for like 4 or 5 years, you gain more like a pound a month. It's way harder.
Right.
So people kind of learn that process because the thing about bulking, the reason for this fluctuation is because when you bulk up, that means that you're eating a caloric surplus. You're eating more than what your body requires to maintain. And that causes you to have what you need to build extra muscle to make your body bigger than it already is, currently. But there's no way really to stop you from also building a little bit of fat on top of it, which isn't necessarily bad because you get all the extra energy from all the extra carbs and everything that you're eating. So you can work out harder, Right. Your workouts are harder. You're stronger because of all the extra nutrients in you. You get bigger, but you get a little chubby. So after that, then you cut down, but you get weaker, you lose energy, you lose water, but you lose fat. But the thing is, it's really hard to stay lean like that and build muscle because, again, you get the extra energy and stuff from having all the extra food in you. So I guess we should start by kind of going over maybe like a normal cycle. Like I'm small. My goal right now is to get a lot bigger. So I would probably bulk for like 6 or 7 months at a time.
Oh, wow.
And a cut would only be like maybe 2 months, if that. Because I'm naturally like a skinny person, so getting big is my problem. Losing fat is not really that hard. So for me, let's say, for me to maintain my like body, technically probably be somewhere around, 2,000, 2,200 calories. I try to eat more like 3,500, which is a ton. I can't always get in that amount, so I end up eating like 28 to 3,000 maybe, which is right about the sweet spot for bulking, about 500 more than you're supposed to eat. And it allows me to keep that extra energy. I notice on days when I eat a lot of like pastas or a lot of different carbs, the next day I'm like really strong in the gym. And because of that, I focus better because I feel like, wow, like I'm, look at all this weight I'm pushing. It helps me mentally kind of get into the game. On days where I don't do that so much, I feel weaker and I feel less energized and I feel dehydrated, which makes me feel like I don't want to do this. Like if I'm underweight thinking, man, I was just doing this last week and it's so heavy right now, I'm kind of like, oh, this sucks,
Right.
And it throws off everything else. And if you're not lifting that hard, then after the gym, you're not that hungry and everything, just fluctuates.
Yeah.
Or you don't sleep that good that night. So a big thing for bulking, I think, that a lot of people kind of mess up with is you don't eat enough. We always tell people that if you're not eating right, you might as well just not work out.
I know. Yeah. We talk about that because it is true. It's very true.
But that's the hard thing. I think it's hard mentally because so many people are like, you're in the gym, you can tell it's hard. Like you can tell you're lifting heavy weight. And technically they say if you know how to flex your muscles and, keep everything just right, you really don't need to keep progressing in weights. Like I could use one weight and keep building off of it. But the weights are great because they serve as like markers. If I'm stronger, I know because I'm pushing more weight. And it's something that I can easily like just count up really quick, Oh, I pushed 185, now I'm pushing 205. Like it's,
quantify it.
Exactly. Now, food, I think people have a harder time with because number one, they feel like they're going to get fat. Now, you're not going to get fat. You're going to take some fat with the muscle.
Right.
I've noticed people bulking who take it serious. You'll probably bulk like 5 pounds, 3, 4, like let's say like 4 or 5 pounds a month, But again, you're only looking realistically, you can only gain about 2.5 pounds of muscle at the most. So that means those other pounds are fat, you know, and it's going to happen. There's no way around it because when you're taking that surplus of calories, your body's going to store that stuff as fat. Now, working out hard, you use a lot of your carbs and then, you know, to push that extra weight because you're so much stronger. So when you're resting, you'll burn fat, but you're eating so much that you kind of maintain it a little bit, you know, but then you cut down and then, you know. But it's hard to kind of wrap your head around the idea that you need to eat. It's easy to push yourself working out underweight, but it's hard to like push yourself when you don't think you're that hungry, you know, because there's no way to gauge it. You don't feel like a burn or like a pump when you're stuffing yourself, you know.
Exactly.
You just feel like, man, this is pointless. Like I'm gonna get fat. Like this is not what fit people do. Like people have that kind of misconception, you know. And it's like, but the point is, you need your body to grow. You know, right now your body's used to being a certain weight. And you want it to be more so, but your body's spent so much time being at this weight, doing what it does. It's already in its routine. Okay, look, let's eat this much. Now we're full. Now let's stop.
Right.
You need to retrain it. No, I need you to eat more. Your body's going to get bigger, and you need it to eat even more. Then it's going to get even bigger, which means it'll get hungrier because it's a bigger thing now. It needs more food. You know, that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes. Another thing too that I wanted to get into was the differences in supplementation between bulking and shredding.
Oh.
And it sounds interesting, but when I bulk, this is what I take. Protein powder, creatine, fish oil, multivitamin, and there's one more thing. Maybe that's it, actually. Yeah, that's it. Now, the reasons, simple, right? Protein to build,
right?
Creatine to build, the fish oil and multivitamin to make sure that I'm getting what I need. The fish oil I take because it helps, like it makes your body more efficient with the protein synthesis and it helps everything, you know, it's like oil in a car. Now, when I'm cutting though, no creatine, more protein powder, fish oil, multivitamin, and pre-workout. And the reason for this is the creatine holds that extra water weight, which I'm trying to cut to lean out, you know, on top of the fat. It's really more important for me to take the fish oil and multivitamin when I'm cutting because I'm cutting a lot of food. My body's in a caloric deficit compared to what it's used to, and it's really hard in your metabolism. People need to be careful with that, you know?
Right.
It's hard in your body to, you know, to go from one thing to another because it feels like it's starving. You're not, you know?
But
I can go from 3,000 to 2,000 calories and like even really 1,500 calories probably, and I wouldn't starve at all. That's you know, not plenty, but I'm not going to starve on that.
Yeah.
But it's hard on your body because your body doesn't know what's going on, you know? Now, the pre-workout is because you have so much less energy. You know, there's less fuel in you, right? Plain and simple. And in order to kind of keep your workouts efficient, a good pre-workout is like essential. The reason I don't take it when I'm bulking is because if you take it all the time, you kind of grow like immune to it. Like I've noticed I'll buy a pre-workout and I'll take a scoop and I'm like on crack and my fingers are all tingly and I have that really good like itchy feeling in my face. Like when you roll around in grass. If I take it for like, you know, by the end of it, like the 30 days, I need to take like 2 scoops. Otherwise, I don't feel anything.
Right.
It helps too with the kind of pump, like you get the nitric oxide flowing through you, and it helps blood flow through the body, which again, when you're in that caloric deficit, it's really important because the blood flowing better means all the nutrients, especially with the multivitamin and the fish oil, they are moving into the muscle, you know, and it makes it easier for the muscle to get what it needs, you know, in this kind of harder time that you're putting it through. So I think it's really important to get yourself a pre-workout and really make sure you're getting in your body's like protein levels for the day.
Right.
And evenly. People make the mistake of like they eat and take protein and then eat, take protein like 3 times a day. I would eat, take the protein between meals. That way you keep your protein levels spiked. You know, it's a consistent thing. You know what I mean? That was one big thing there. And, you know, when you're bulking, I would just keep up on the creatine, keep up on your water intake, because the more hydrated you are, the harder you can work. You know, it's all about maximizing what you push. The way I kind of see it is like, well, you know, when a rocket takes off into space, and it's got those extra boosters attached to it, but then those things fall off. To me, that's the fat and the water weight of like creatine and extra calories. They're going to come off eventually, but they're just something to get you to where you need to go. They need to be there. It's like an additive.
That's really good.
You know? That makes sense. And with that being said, we want to dive into, the difference between clean bulking, dirty bulking, which one of these, maybe not healthier, but which one of these fits you better, which one, and that's something you can decide for yourself. But we just want to give you guys some quick tips, and hopefully that would make that decision just a little bit easier right after we take this quick break.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm Mariano.
And I'm Pauline.
And right before the break, we got into bulking versus cutting. Now that we've got that squared away, that little bit of foundation there, we want to talk about the difference between dirty bulking and clean bulking. And these are the definitions that I found on bodybuilding.com. Clean bulking means eating up to 500 calories above the daily amount required for maintenance in order to build muscle while limiting fat, because you're eating only up to 500 extra calories.
Right.
So you'll still build fat, but not that much. Dirty bulking is eating well over those 500 calories that are already above the daily requirement for maintenance.
Okay.
So that means you're going to take on even more fat, but it also means that you'll build muscle and strength a little bit quicker. But there are kind of ups and downs for each of them because, well, first of all, actually, let me get into this. People, like everyone who, that's the first time I've ever heard the difference explained that way. A lot of people consider clean versus dirty bulking to mean like you eat cleaner or you just eat whatever. I was going to
say, yeah. Good
That's,
versus bad.
That's exactly what I thought too when I read this.
That you're eating, yeah. Because I actually had a friend who I would have said was trying to do dirty bulking, but according to these definitions, no. He was just because he was just trying to get in calories. So he was eating a lot of anything all the time.
I would consider that dirty bulking. Though.
Yeah, like he was eating like a lot of fast food. Like he was just eating food, like anything, and just to try to gain weight. And it actually didn't even really work. It just made him always sick. Like,
well, you have to be careful because
so much trash all the time.
You have to be careful because I know exactly what you're talking about. My friend is the same, and the thing is, I think anyway, the reason why it doesn't work is because your body needs fuel.
Yeah, like actual nutrients.
Exactly. Yeah. Fast food doesn't have that. That's why I was saying it's important to get in your multivitamin, your fish oil.
Right.
Because you're losing out on a lot of stuff when you diet. Like I eat a lot of chicken, veggies, and it makes me wonder sometimes, like, what am I not eating? So I bought myself a multivitamin and a fish oil, and guess what? Lately, I've been feeling great. Like the difference is so noticeable. And the strength difference is noticeable too because I have cut carbs so low. I was way weaker. Remember I was telling you?
Yeah.
And I went back to the gym after having these things in me, and I'm not quite back to where I was, but I'm so much closer. These things make a huge difference. I didn't realize my body was depleted of these things.
Right.
But to me, dirty bulking also kind of entails just eating whatever because calories, sure, but you need to have the right calories too.
Exactly.
A certain amount of those need to be protein, your carbs, your fats, all these different things are essential. But I can technically eat 14, Kit Kats in a day, I guess. But that's not going to help me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to help me build muscle. But,
and I remember telling him, I was like, it doesn't really work
that
way. Just because you get two burgers at Jack in a Box doesn't mean you're going to get a gut probably, but that's about it.
But no muscle.
Yeah. I was like, you're going to just feel yucky, all the time. He was an athlete too, so I was like, I don't think this is very wise.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't do that. The farthest I've ever went with dirty bulking was I would eat clean, but I would eat the thing is eating out, the food is so good tasting. So I would eat at least a meal like that a day on top of my other meals because you eat clean, then you're like, oh, I'm full. But then you see some good food and you're like, oh, I could probably squeeze that in. So it helps you get, that into you.
Right.
But even that, I kind of wouldn't recommend. I would probably just recommend trying to find ways to make your food better, like some barbecue sauce or some lemon or something.
Yeah.
But the thing about the dirty bulk, though, is, number one, guys take on a lot of, like, fast food and all that stuff has a lot of, like, sugar, a lot of salt. Yeah.
A lot of salt.
Like preservatives, additives, color. And also, there's a such thing as metabolic damage. The thing is, if you're building your body that quickly, you're going to take on all that extra fat. And when you try to cut all that fat off your body, your metabolism is going to, get punched in the face and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And if it's a little too drastic and not gradual enough, your body could sustain some actual damage that could kind of harm you in the long run. Now, clean bulking, you're still going to take on some fat, but because you're eating less calories, only up to 500 more than what you need, so that you can build. You're going to build a little slower. You're not going to make strength or muscle gains as quickly, but you will make them.
Yeah.
But you're going to build less fat, which means the cutting will be so much easier, So for me personally, I clean bulk. Like I'd rather clean bulk. Even with the other definition, I don't really eat too many. Like if I do eat something like I splurge, that's a splurge. It's not like a normal thing for me.
Right.
It'll be like once every, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days at the most.
Yeah.
I've gone like 3 months without even touching but a lot of guys that try to dirty bulk, they do get a little chubby. I've noticed that. Like they get stronger technically, but they don't. The point is to look better, and they don't look better.
Yeah, their bellies, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it gets hard. Well, not even just their bellies, but like their arms get a little flabby. Their face gets chubby. Like, it's difficult. But I can understand, though, because I've met some people that are like really skinny and like tall and skinny. And, they're like, look, I just want to put on size. I've even met some people where if they even put on just a little bit of fat, they would look better, because they're that skinny. So I guess for them, dirty bulking could be okay, but just be careful with your metabolism.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I would clean bulk, just stick to your supplements and everything to keep your workouts like hard, to keep the intensity up.
Right.
But I don't know. Would you clean or dirty bulk?
I think clean.
Yeah?
Yeah. And because
if you're trying to build muscle?
Yeah. Because I don't, I'm already like, I don't think, well, for me, because you run the risk of just trying to fill in calories because you're trying to make calories when you're like dirty bulking, that you do like you take the chance of eating foods that aren't good for you because you're trying to make that calorie cap, so you risk it because like how we were saying, it's just like, okay, I'll just get large fries then or something. Like, like you're adding it, but it's so you're not necessarily, it leaves room to not make good choices on what you're going to consume just to try to make those calories.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm just afraid of hurting my metabolism.
Yeah, that too.
My metabolism, it's been good to me. I've stayed pretty thin. So, I mean, I don't want to like mess with it too much. And I'm thinking of like when you're older, because I want to do fitness as like a lifestyle, I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, look at my picture when I was 25. I was so huge, just benching 5,000 pounds.
Right.
And then you look at them when they're like 40 and you're like, oh,
yeah,
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy that is like 60 and looks like C.T. Fletcher, But that's a gradual process, He didn't wake up like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it must be hard to... The thing, too, about clean and dirty bulking is when we talk about it like in our term of, eating whatever you want versus eating clean, is what, that whole kind of Rick Ross stigma where it's good to diet, but it's also good to allow enough leeway in the diet that you can do it and not get bored of it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of brings up a little interesting thing there because I have a real hard problem. Like one of my big problems in everything is I hate to admit like when I can't do something, So if I'm like really tired, I'll just deal with it until I'm like sick or, but I'm learning that like it's okay to have a cheat meal every here and there because it keeps you kind of on track. And it's funny that it actually pushes you on track. Like I'll be eating clean, and then I really crave something and I eat it, and I'm so like afraid because I ate it that now I'm back to clean eating.
Right.
You know what I mean? It like it kicks me right back in the other direction. And I think it's important to allow yourself that leeway because that is that's a little more realistic for like a long-term diet, you know? If I am still allowed to eat what I want every now and again, that's something I'm more likely going to do for like, the rest of my life. You know, I'm not going to eat just chicken and rice forever.
Right.
Like for every single meal.
Yeah.
It's boring. But that I think is a tricky thing. And also when guys bulk up, they bulk up too hard and they cut too hard. You know, it's not like you're like, I can bulk up to the size of like Phil Heath and then just shred out, you know. It takes... You bulk cut, you know. It takes years and it takes time. You know what I mean? And the more muscle you have and the longer you've been working out, the harder it is to build more muscle, which sucks.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
But, you know, people need to understand it's a process. Lifting is not a quick thing, you know? Everything needs to be on point. It's like a very tight-knit kind of balance of like sleep, nutrition, exercise, rest. I don't mean like sleep and rest are two different things, like when you're not exercising. But, it gets tricky, you know. People like get discouraged. The one thing that really helps me is the progress pictures because, you know, I see myself every day, so I really can't tell. But I'll take pictures and I'll look at them from like 1 month to the next or a couple months, and I'm like, whoa,
there's a really big difference.
Yeah, for good or bad. And if it's bad, then I'm like, whoops, I need to get back to the gym.
Right.
But you know, that's one thing that helps, and that's actually something that we'll get into in the next episode. So we do need to take a quick commercial break, and then we've got a couple more topics for you. We will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm Mariano.
And I'm Pauline.
And one last thing that we wanted to get into, we were talking about, you know, bulking and cutting, and then the difference between clean and dirty bulking, and why it's important to allow yourself just a little bit of leeway to keep yourself motivated and to set yourself a goal that's realistic, because, you know, fitness is something that takes time. And if you go at it like full force for 2 months and then fall off, you're not going to make the gains that you're looking for, you know. Whereas if you allow yourself just a little bit of leeway, but it's just enough that you can stay motivated over time, then you will see results.
Right.
Now, that being said, we wanted to talk about the importance of like a mental/emotional cheat day. Now, in my opinion, I like kind of silence, and I like just hanging out sometimes. Well, when I'm tired. So, you know, there are those like lazy days for me that I love. I love/hate because I feel lazy. Right. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? This is necessary. I've got so many different things going on usually that I'm like, oh, I could be using this time to do this or this time to do this.
Right.
But there are those days where you're like, you know what? Screw all of it. I just want to do nothing at all, you know?
Right.
I just want to watch like Top Gear on Netflix.
I used to kind of, in a way, do something like this all the time. Well, often enough when I was away for school, and where it would be maybe like we didn't have school on like a Monday or something like that for like a holiday, or I would pick like a weekend that I maybe had like work early in the morning, so I had like the rest of the day, and my plan for the day would be to do nothing. And so in a way you feel like lazy, but then at the same time you've accomplished that goal of doing nothing. And I wouldn't, and sometimes like one of my really good friends that I would hang out with all the time in college, like I would even let her know, like today is just like my day. So like don't even like bring up to me like there's a party tonight or something, because like I don't want to be like like you know, like should I go, should I not, like because then I would just say like, you know, today is like my day, and I would either like, it's if like I was coming home from like work, I would pick up food on the way, or like, you know, get some groceries on the way home, or I would just like order food, because I'd say to myself, once I get in the house, I don't even want to, you know, have to deal with like
I've had days where I don't even want to go to get the food.
Exactly, you know, and it's just like, but then I would either just like watch TV, how you were saying, or just like read, sleep if I needed to, you know, and just kind of like, and I don't know, I'm sure sometimes guys do this too, but like with girls, like I would like just have kind of like a day where I would just like do my nails that day, or like just kind of like relax and things, and just have like you said, just kind of like a mental and emotional like day where it's just all about yourself, that you're not dealing with other people. I would even sometimes turn my phone off, because I'm like, I don't want my friends like texting me or anything. And like there would be even times when like I would probably only return like my mom's call or something, because like, you know, just depending on what it is that she may need. But I would just like not, I guess yeah, ignore everyone, you know, just to have like a down, quiet day to kind of like recharge.
Exactly.
And things like that.
And it's funny what works and why. Like on my like down days, I don't even like shave.
Yeah.
And for some weird reason, the fact that I look scruffy feels good to me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you walk around in like just basketball shorts and you're happy about that.
Right. No,
I'm not sure why, but it's just something.
I'm like, I didn't even do my hair today.
Exactly.
I love it.
It's something refreshing about it, right?
Yep. There's no stress. Like you're just not worried about it, because it doesn't matter. And like there'd be times where, and my friend, she would always make fun of me. She would come, because there would be times when I'm like, okay, you could come over, because like the end of the day, and I'm like, are you hungry? Because I'm kind of hungry. Do you want to drive me? Like, you know, because like I don't feel like driving or whatever. And she would say to me, like, our joke would be, did you even see the sun today? Because like I would keep the blinds and everything closed too,
I do that
and like
too.
not even turn the light, like it'd just be dark and things, and I'm like, well, was it a nice sun today? Because I missed the entire thing, you know. But then it's not one of those things that you necessarily have to feel bad about, because like I would tell her I accomplished my goal for the day.
It's not like you do it every day.
Turn off and be by myself all day,
just kind of exist for a day,
right? Yeah.
Me too.
Stress.
Me too, because it's like, you know, it's not like you do this every day. There's a lot of things going on. We're making lots of progress in our lives and other things. But it's really hard, I think, these days, too, with like social media and phones and all this stuff. Like, it's really hard for people to switch off. And I am the worst. I cannot ever switch off. Sometimes I want to so bad, and I hate the fact that I can't. So on the rare occasion, like it is really rare, where like I don't feel like doing anything. Like I can lay down and actually not feel like I'm lazy for not getting up and going to the gym, or not like, okay, I'm not going to go. And then 10 seconds later, I start imagining, oh, but you know what? I could do this and I could do this. No, like there are those days where you wake up and you're like, yeah, I think I'm just going to hang out because I deserve some me time. And like normally, I'm one of those weirdos where like I have to study like in some way what I'm trying to get to. So like if I'm a dog trainer, I love to lift, and I'd love to do a radio show, which is why we do these podcasts. So like even if I'm just sitting at home like watching movies or something, I won't watch like a movie. I'll be on YouTube watching like lifters and watching videos, or I'll be watching some like dog training how-to videos and listening to people explain things, and it helps me explain things to other clients. Right. Or I'll be watching like interviews with Howard Stern and to just kind of see how it's done. You know? But on these days where I'm not feeling like that, like I feel like mentally too, I just don't want to take in any new information. I just don't want to like have my brain, like I literally want my brain off. Exactly. Yeah. So in that instance, I'll play something that I have like no interest in, or something that I have interest in but I've seen before. Yes. Like an old, just like an background. Old stand-up comedy. Exactly. It's just background, and I'll turn away from like the TV and I'll just lay down and just listen and fall asleep. And like I'll do that great thing where you doze in and out all day long. Yeah. So like you wake up and it's like 11 a.m. Then you wake back up. My favorites are like, my favorite when I would do this would be like when they're having like a Law & Order SVU like marathon. Oh, that lasts forever. And so like you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, cool. But then you fall asleep, but it's not really that big of a deal because there's going to be another episode on when you wake up. Yeah. Well, my thing is, I just listen to stand-up comedians because you can find those like YouTube playlists. So I wake up and it's someone new, and I'm like, all right, that'll work. Like, great, as long as you're funny. But I love the feeling of like when you fall asleep and you wake up and it's like 2 in the afternoon, then you do it again and it's like 6, and you do it again and it's like 11 at night.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like you're like hibernating through the day.
Yeah,
I love
really.
that.
And it's kind of good because, like you were saying, it's not like you're doing it so often that your responsibilities start to like, you know,
yeah, exactly. It's
you
just a day.
lose track and everything, but it's just enough to just have like a day, whether, you know, where you just don't have to worry about things.
Do you ever guilt yourself?
Huh?
Do you ever guilt yourself?
No.
Like I'll be laying down, I'll be laying down with the intention of like, okay, I'm not doing nothing. I'm doing something. I'm relaxing.
Yeah, true.
But
because it's hard to relax.
It is hard to relax.
Because you have to actually,
like focus.
Can be
I know.
stressful to relax because you're so focused
stressful
on the fact that you need to relax.
I know, it's so stressful trying to relax. And also if you guilt yourself, like I'm like, yeah, okay, like I just need to sit here and relax. And I'll look at my desk and there's like paperwork and stuff all over it. And I'm like, but you really need to get to that, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but... You know, and like I'll sit there and fight with myself, like, you know, do you wash your clothes? You need to do this. You need to do this.
Right.
Wash my dog because they stink, so I'm gonna do that when I get home. But yeah, you know, there's all these like little things that creep into my head, like, come on, just do this, just do this, and I'm like, look, no, because I need just to calm down.
It is true, and it is good. It helps to keep you just.
This may be gross, but like if I have like
focused.
2 days off or 3 days off, I don't even really shower. Just because I just want to lay there, like, you know, I just want to
just be completely off and not do anything.
Yeah, and not just that, but like I don't shower and like shave because I love like to see myself get scruffy. I don't know why, but one like the best part of the whole thing is when your like rest days are finally over and like you take a long shower and then you shave your face and then you look ready to go. You know, and like the difference of relaxing mode to work mode is so apparent.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that.
I think it is really good, and I think that you have to kind of like you should plan these days, like I mean, if it happens, it happens. If you planned it, great, whatever. But have these days every so often.
Yeah, just listen to your body.
Where, yeah, you know, when you just kind of like relax, and it is kind of difficult for some people because like there's even sometimes like because now that like since I've moved home from school, where everyone will just be like kind of like vegging out on the couch, and then my mom will be like, "What are we having for dinner?" And my brother and I will even be like, do we have to eat dinner today? Let's just eat fruits all night. Like,
I'm not that social though. Like if it's an off day for me, I'm just by myself.
Right. And so it's just like, let's just, you know, and you wake up and you're just like, TV's still on, roll back over.
I'm still fat and like, I'm still like, like eating myself into a food coma.
So it's all good, and it's kind of just something that you need every once in a while, and not even like going on vacation, because sometimes vacations can be stressful.
Yeah, vacation to me is
like
stressful.
At home,
yeah, I just want to relax.
Right.
I just want
really
like
good.
A vacation to me is something I would do when I have the energy.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like I just want to just can I
You
just
have to
be
prepare.
home? Yeah, can I just do nothing? That'd be great.
Right.
But you know, it just has that like great psychological kind of boost that really comes in handy every now and again. And again, it's every now and again, but you know, the point is to listen to your body and to be able to just kind of accept the fact that everybody needs a break, and it does wonders. Like a well-timed just do nothing day just makes everything better.
I agree.
Right? And we're going to cut it here for this episode. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter, GSMC_health. Perfect. You can find these podcasts on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, as well as GSMCpodcast.com. I'm Mariano.
And I'm Pauline.
We will talk to you next time.